But let me sort of moving into slightly more, perhaps longer form answers. In terms of sort of bringing people with you on that journey, how are you doing that at PGIM? What is that? How are you bringing about an innovation culture? How are you making the PGIM real estate employees aware of everything that is happening? And actually, I pick up on that because I think it's your CEO, Eric Adler, quoted saying, innovation has been a hallmark of our firm since its inception. So it's obviously there's a top-down philosophy here. But I'm just interested about, give me a little bit more of a broad perspective of how you're breeding that culture of innovation.
Well, I mean, you're 100% right. The top-down part of this is amazing. The support that I get from Eric and everyone on the very senior most levels is invaluable. So that helps in so many different ways. I mean, in any public forum, there's always discussion around innovation. There's always, if I want a communication to come out from Eric, he's always super supportive of doing any of that. But I think it needs to be both a top down and a bottom up approach. It can't just be coming from the top. And so the way that I've really structured this is, to go back to what I was saying before in terms of innovation led by business. So we have established 14 different innovation councils across PGIM real estate that are chaired by different people in the business. So we have a U.S. Office Asset Management Innovation Council chaired by the head of U.S. Office Asset Management. And we have a APAC Innovation Council. We have a Global ESG Innovation Council. There's just, a variety of different ones. And there's anywhere between 5 to 8 people on those innovation councils. One of the 2 directors of innovation that work for me are on each one of those councils. But they're not chairing them. And those councils come up with their 2 to 3 problem statements or focal points that they want to look for an innovative solution for during each year. And then my team and I help them to find those. But it is really led by them. So, what are you guys experiencing as a real pain point? And then, here's going back to the toolkit that I mentioned, here's how we would research finding a water leak detection solution for multifamily in the US during construction. And we'll help you with that, but you should also reach out to your counterparts in the multifamily asset management world and see what they're using. And then we'll help you research those, and then we'll help you pilot those. And then if we find one that you like, we'll help you do an MSA to implement that.
An MSA?
Master service agreement. So we've been the end goal is that we find something that we really like and that we can sign a portfolio-wide agreement and be able to then adopt the technology easily across the portfolio.
And it's really interesting you talk about these innovation councils. Last week, I interviewed Great Portland Estates, or GPE, who actually later that day went and got awarded the most innovative company in the UK from Estates Gazette. And they were talking a similar approach for them within their field, where they have what they call innovation champions. And actually, I think 25% of their companies involved in this sort of role within the company. I'm interested in terms of, is there any direction given to the councils? How often do they meet? Are they all independent of each other? Do they collaborate together on these things, or are they kept sort of geographically in silos? Because I should imagine running it on a global level is very, very different to running it on a UK-centric or a Mexican-centric perspective.
So they meet. Most of them meet monthly, and we put an analyst on all of the councils. The analyst helps to do the agenda, helps to do the meeting minutes, helps to set up any demos, things like that. And it's a bit of a rotation for the analyst. So after a year, they rotate off. We also have the chairs. All of the chairs meet on a quarterly basis, so that they then share amongst each other what they're working on. And then we have compiled all of our problem statements. So we have something like between 30 and 35 problem statements. If you think about 14 councils and 2 to 3 problem statements per, it's around 30 to 35. We've compiled that all onto one in one area and share that amongst everyone as well. And then we are doing smaller group meetings with some of the different executive councils to keep everyone up to date as to what's going on. The point of having the directors of innovation sit on the councils is also for them to be able to share knowledge between the councils and make sure that everyone is doing that as well. And then we did create a centralized database for that everyone that's on any of the councils, or if other people want to have access to it, that is a place where we put any information around companies that we've talked to, any deep dives that we've done on a research into a problem statement, any of that, people can go and look there.
It's an entirely different level of organization when you're operating on such a size across so many different markets and genres and asset classes and all that sort of stuff. So, I mean, it must be a fascinatingly complex role that you have to strategically bring together, and much respect for what you have to do.